have to excuse the creaking of the shed today. The sun's coming out and going down again, so the shed expands and contracts. But anyway, that's how it is. But look, what I'm doing here is I have a customer come in for a yarn. He collects old tractors, he's sort of mate of ours. And he's got an old Bulldog tractor. And it winds over, but he just gets heaps and heaps of blue smoke out. So what he's brought in is the injector. And I said, look, I'll try and have a test of it for him and I'll see if we can fix it. So what we do, we slowly pump the handle, bring the handle up, and on the gauge here, we're sitting on, well, 1,600 pounds per square inch, nearly 1,700 pounds per square inch. But you'll notice it's just dribbling. And what happens when it dribbles like that is all this fuel, it's not atomised. So what's happened, the piston's coming up, it's causing heat with the compression, and the fuel won't squirt out properly. So, or it goes out with a little piddle like that. What it should be is sort of that squirt, or that chirp we call it, that's atomising the fuel. But when we pump the handle here slowly, we should be able to make a good nozzle squirt. But yeah, you can see that the nozzle's sticking. And so look, what we'll do, we'll pop the nozzle apart in here. A thing to point out is when you're doing this job, do not put your hand over there and pump it. At 1,600 pound, a lot of injectors around 2,600 pound, which is, you know, 16, 18 atmospheres. That little squirt, the big squirt like that, will go into your skin and well, it won't do you any good. Yeah. So anyway, look, that's a crook nozzle. We'll pull it apart and see if we can get a little bit better. I'm not sure of the pressure. I'll have to go up the house and have a look, but I'd reckon probably 1,800 pounds, something like that. But on the old tractors, sometimes we put the pressures down just a little bit because you're working with old injection pumps. But yeah, with this we might pop him up a bit higher and try and get it to atomise. But we'll pull it apart and give it a good clean first and just see what we can come up with for old Barry, and see if we can save him a quid from having to get a new nozzle. Hopefully you can see the gauge a little bit better in this position before we refix it. When we get it so you can see the gauge with the tractor in the background, oh, we might be able to see the dribble there. So anyway, we'll pull it apart and well, we'll just see if we can tidy that up a little bit. Okay, to get the nozzle out, there's a nut here. So we've set him in the vise. It's 30mm, being of German origin. So there we have the nozzle and the holder. So from here to here, it looks like a normal injector that you would put in a Massey Ferguson or something like that. And this nut, you can loosen it to position the pipe. So we'll slide this out. We'll bring this fella here. That should give us a chance to take the nozzle off. So that's the body and the nozzle. There's a tip in here and it will have a replaceable nozzle in it. So what we'll do, We'll sit him up there like that. I'm dropping everything. This is a piece of copper. That'll just free the carbon up for us. And that's your tip. And what happens over time, these get a little bit stuck in the bore. So we can clean that up. To clean that up and get rid of the lacquer, you can actually put it on a piece of pine board and just give it a polish. And the other thing we can do is look up in there, tidy it up, make sure all these holes are clean, and make sure that this nozzle actually sits in there nicely. You can also lap them with a bit of lapping paste, or if you're out in the boondocks, a little bit of toothpaste even works. So look, I'll go and tidy this up and we'll see if we can make it fire any better. Right, what have we done? I've polished this up on a bit of pine board. It still doesn't quite, that's what you're looking for, dropping under its own steam. And I have got a little bit of WD spray on it as a lubricant. You could probably use diesel. And it's actually a Bosch nozzle. It's got DL60S 880 Germany written on it. So I've cleaned this up. I cleaned the end there, and with that I did it with a wire brush, just ever so gently. Don't put any pressure on it. But look, that's pretty good. We'll put that back and try it, and we haven't lapped it or done anything like that. So we'll just put this back and try it, and if it looks like it shouldn't sort of stick, I believe. But anyway, time will tell. We'll put it together and see if we're on the right track. One thing I haven't mentioned is that the nozzle, this surface on the nozzle here, it has to seal on that surface there. So you just need to make sure that that surface is nice and clean. There's no marks on it. You can polish it on a little bit of wet and dry if you like, but we have fuel coming out here and it goes down these little holes, and that actually pops the needle off the seat when the time's right. So we'll slide this back on. Make sure it's nice and clean. This big shifter, the jaws don't move, and I like using it for injectors. I find sometimes with an open ender, I'm having another one of those weekends where I have dropsy. But anyway, look, that's together. We have not adjusted the pressure. The pressure gets adjusted up here, and I've never had this apart on this one, but we might pull it apart for a look. And I would imagine it gets adjusted with shims. So we'll put the injector tester back in the vise and we'll give this a squirt and see if we've made it better or worse. Okay, after a little clean up, we'll flush a bit of diesel through. Now look here, you should be able to hold it up almost to braking pressure without it leaking too much. And we're up there now, we're up around 1,500 pounds. So there is a little bit of leak there, this could be better yet. So there's still leakage in that nozzle. And if I go real slow, it's not chirping. But look, it is better. But let's have another look. We might try and lap it a little bit. Try and lap it in and take that drip away. I'd also like to pop this cap off here and increase the pressure a little bit. I think over the years the spring gets a little bit weak, and I think it's it's something that could help our situation. So we'll continue on and keep fiddling. This is good to do. I have an injector the same as this in my Bulldog. This is off a little one, probably a 1706 we think. You couldn't remember the exact model, but well, I have a 3206, so I think this will be a good exercise for mine. And I do have some books up at the house, so I will try and work out what pressure we should be at. But I usually, just to allow for wear and tear, you can bring it up a little bit and bring it back up to standard. So I reckon anything up to 2000 would probably be all right with this one. But anyway, we'll pop that top off and yeah, we'll see if we can get it better yet. I think we can. Well, this is the top end of the injector. So I just cracked this with the spanner before. Now up in there you have a guide for the spring. This is your spring, and well, what are we looking for with the spring? We're looking to see it straight. It's not damaged in any way, and it does look good. Down in the end here, that little guide usually just that little guide there just pops out normally. And this plunger, he goes down on to the end of the injecting nozzle, and it's the one that holds the tension against the fuel coming in the side. So we'll pop this nozzle out again. I used to have little kits with little brass wires for cleaning the holes and all that, but the holes look okay on this. So getting back to the nozzle here, when the injector pumps, it pumps in through here, it comes out there, which pushes around here, which pushes on the seat of the nozzle here, and the pressure from this needle up the top and the spring, that puts resistance back onto there to build up the pressure enough that it will atomise as it comes out of here. So look, that looks all good. We'll find ourselves a little shim and put on the spring and just pick the pressure up a little bit. But I feel I could do a bit more with this yet, so I'll have a fiddle. Right, you notice a little bit of lapping paste, and you notice it's just on the tip. Now, being just on the tip, we don't really want to lap here. We just want to clean the surfaces that leak. And see how I touch that? That's what you don't want to do. So it should take it down, I'm hoping. Yeah, that's okay. And what we're doing is just trying to lap the little taper. This little taper here, we're trying to lap that. This taper here is where the pressure goes, and the other one lets the fuel in. So we'll bring that back onto the end. And the other option is you can just go and buy a new nozzle, but if you like restoring old gear, and I suppose keep the costs down, I'll go and get a bit more paste. And to keep the costs down, some of this stuff can help out a little bit if you're just a little bit handy. Now what I've done in the past, but look, don't tell anyone, it's something you're not supposed to do. When I've got the lapping paste, I've put the little cordless drill on and just give him a few buzzes just to lap him quickly. But you're not supposed to do that, but it worked. It's worked a few times, but so don't tell anyone. Just keep it between you and me and we'll be right. Okay, we're getting a build up in there, so I'll go and clean this up now. And the idea is to clean it right up, have no residue of that lapping paste in there at all. And we'll just see how we go with it. Well, I've cleaned the injector, cleaned the nozzle. And that's about as good as I can ask for coming up and down. Now we'll have to see how we lapped it, how we went with that job. So, see I nearly dropped that? Boy, I get dropsy a lot as I get older. Clean that. Make sure that nozzle sits down nice and tight. I've just used a bit of inox or a bit of WD spray to assemble the nozzle. The other option is use diesel. Just make sure everything's nice and clean. I'll sneak off for a minute and I'll try and find a washer to sit on here. We have a bit of clearance in the housing. So I'll find one and I'll be back shortly. Right, we've put a washer up in the top of the injector under the spring. It's probably too thick. I expect the pressure to be quite high. That's obviously way too high. That's sitting at about 28. And I'm just trying to flush anything out of there, but look, that nozzle's still not good enough. We might actually have to order a new one, seeing our little farm tricks aren't going to save this one by the looks. So anyway, worth a try for old Barry, but we'll get the numbers off the old nozzle and we should be able to get to our bottom pressure down here and have it, not have it go like that, have it go like that. And with that fuel atomising, it'll burn far quicker than just a squirt and a dribble. So yeah, we have nothing more we can do just with this bit. Yeah, the time's come for a new nozzle, so we'll get a new nozzle and we'll keep filming and I'll show you what it's like with the new nozzle in. Well, a week has gone by since we played with our injector and we now have a new nozzle. So it took a bit to find. The original nozzle, to find it through our normal supplier, because it's a bit of a rare old bird, was going to be $456, I'm sorry, just for one of these little fellas. So we keep that nice and clean. We actually got this from another bloke. We got onto a fella that plays with bulldogs a little bit and he brought it in out of the Netherlands for us. So we'll put this on and we'll give it a try. Now the pressure settings we've got it at are the original settings, so we'll try that with a new nozzle and just see how we go. We'll just nip him up a little bit. And fairly firm just to make sure it seats on that bottom piece. So anyway, at the original setting, hang with us for a second, I'll go and get the injector tester and we'll just see what difference that new nozzle's made for us. Okay, I believe you can see the nozzle. We'll just pump him up gently. And we'll remember to tighten the top cap. Well, there you go. Diesel's blowing right on that bloody lens. But just as I press it slowly, you can see that atomising, the fuel's atomising compared with what it used to do. And when you hold, I'll try and bring you around to the gauge a little. See if we can get a spot where you can see everything happening at once. Look at that. I got to get a job as a cameraman. What we're looking to do is wipe that clean, hold that almost up at pressure. We're looking for no leakage here. See my fingers coming dry there. And the pressure's sitting up at about 1800 psi. We're looking at about, yeah, very close, 1750 to 800 psi. But in this case, we couldn't actually repair the old nozzle. I'll try and get a bit of something behind it, and you may be able to see it spraying a little bit better. I don't know if that'll be better or worse, but let's give that a go. And listen for that chirp. Is what you want. Now if you go back to the other video, or the earlier part of the video, there was no way that was doing that. And I just don't have the stuff here to I tried lapping the old nozzle and I couldn't do it. I couldn't get it fine enough for what we needed. So look, we're going to call that a wrap. That's the Lanz Bulldog Injector done. And look, all it really took was a new nozzle. And look, I think the original nozzle from a diesel supply in Brisbane that we rang was $456. This ended up being, I think it was around $160, something like that. And it just pays to shop around. There's people in the know. And the fellow we bought it off, he bought it in from the Netherlands. So it's just worth doing, isn't it? Just shop around a little bit. Now my mate will have a Lanz Bulldog tractor running around the place, and hopefully he can start it. The problem was that when they tried to start it, it blew white smoke and it just wouldn't get going. So with that atomising like that now, that's got to be a good thing. So all we need to do is find the blue cap. This cap sits down here, and we won't tighten that up here. When they put that back in the tractor, they can put the bolts on here, they can line the pipe up, start the pipe with their fingers. Once they know it's all started up so they don't thread anything or don't cross any threads, they can nip this 30mm up here and that'll be a good fix for them. So there you go, Barry. Hope it's a good job for you. Thanks for watching, everyone. Put a comment down the bottom, hit the like button for me, and we'll see what else we can come up with for you.